You're listening to Chuck Cash on the radio.
Stop it.
Chuck Cash is on the radio. What? Chuck Cash on the radio? Yes, Chuck Cash is on the radio. He's on the radio now.
How do, and welcome to the Chuck Cash Radio Show, where over the next 30 minutes we'll take a look back at the week's top events, starting on Monday the 19th of November.
On the radio now.
And on Monday the 19th, the Gaza conflict is the main story of the day, as Israel continues to defend itself from rocket attacks from Gaza, much like a herd of bulls would defend itself against a china shop in a model village. However, it is difficult to defend that model village when the residents of it have elected a terrorist group to become their government, who unashamedly on a regular basis target innocent civilians with terrorist assaults. As everyone in politics knows, it's easier to squash a weak neighbour than take on a power stronger than yourself. I'm not saying that Israel have backed away from Iran's threats, but let's just say it's a bit like having a row with the man at number 16 and going and punching the old lady that lives at number 12. Not that I've done that. President Obama steps in with a moving speech about supporting a fledgling country in times of crisis. Unfortunately, he was in the wrong country. He was in Burma. Former Prime Minister Tony Blair is set to mediate with Egyptian leaders to try and broker a ceasefire. Tony Blair in place, of course, because of his long experience in unjust military campaigns. And of course we'll be doing this all again in 4 or 5 years' time, when America changes its government and Israel is about to elect a new one itself. Cynical? No, just do the math.
On the radio now.
More bad news from Britain's High Street. Hovis, parent company Premier Foods, are set to axe 900 jobs, closing sites in Birmingham, London, Plymouth and Suffolk. I remember going shopping with my mum. We used to go and get the bread and whatnot. You know, we go a long walk along that Fen Road. Barely a bump on it. Sometimes I'd just stand on a telephone box to get some kind of perspective what it'd be like to have a hill in the village. Anyway, off we go, up past where Woolworths was, and then to Comet, just to see if there's any bargains left for their closing down sale. I expect I'll see most of them on eBay tomorrow. Anyway, just as we were going up the precinct, past the winos and the chavs on the benches, one of those little buggers nicked my mobile phone. Oh, I was furious. I'd still got photos of my girlfriend on that and my penis, and I didn't want anyone else to see it, especially my mum. And I chased after those little buggers. They got away. I guess I'm just going to have to rely on CCTV to catch them. Anyway, we went and got the bread. Hovis. That's full of wheat germ. I don't even know what wheat germ is. I asked Mum and she didn't know either. Anyway, we took it home. We had a slice each with real butter and licorice. I want a bit of coal. That was all right.
I said, yes, Chuck Cash is on the radio now.
Jockey Frankie Dettori appeared in front of a French racing tribunal after testing positive for a non-performance enhancing drug back in September. If suspended, he'll miss upcoming mounts on Nose Candy in the 230, Up for the Crack in the 305, he was to be on the Shizzle in the 340, then on Charlie in the 410. Powder was his preference in the 435, and he was hoping to be on the gear in the last race. It's a blow, said the diminutive jockey. That's crystal clear. I feel between a rock and a freebase. I know I must keep my nose clean, toe the line, and just take it.
He's not like me at all. You know me, I'm Frankie. Frankie Dettori. It's a moment of madness. I'm just a very happy person. I'm very good at rolling up 20-pound notes. I'm Italian, so I use my hands. It's a moment of madness.
You're listening to Chuck Cash on the radio.
Stop it. The Synod of the Church of England have voted against women bishops. Although women are qualified to make the teas, play the organ, polish the pews and hand out the prayer books, they're deemed not qualified for the very top job of worshipping a deity who happens to have facial hair. Not even in Movember. I'm not a religious person myself, but there are two startling facts in favour of women bishops as far as I can see. One, if the job comes with a hat and a schmock, women are best placed to carry off this look. And two, women bishops are probably less likely to fiddle with the choir boys.
I said, here's Chuck Cash is on your radio now.
Operation Elvedon, the inquiry into the phone hacking scandal, announced that they have charged Andy Coulson and Rebecca Brooks, along with 2 others, with misconduct in a public office. They were charged for receiving payments. Although from the indignant look on Andy Coulson's face and the state of Rebecca Brooks' hair, one could easily be confused and think they've been charged with 50,000 volts. Foreign Secretary William Hague acknowledges the National Coalition of Syrian Forces as the legitimate representatives of the Syrian nation, ousting President Assad's regime, who now become the opposition to the opposition. Well, maybe now they're both opposition parties that have so much in common, they'll just call it a day. And in sport, Roberto Di Matteo becomes the 9th manager in 9 years to be fired by owner Roman Abramovich. Rafa Benitez is due to take place as the new Chelsea manager until the end of the season. Yeah, I can't wait to hear that rant. Abramovich has tried to get Roberto Mancini fired from Man City after having Man City knocked out of the Champions League at the group stage for the 3rd year running, until one brave member of staff reminded Abramovich he doesn't actually own Man City.
On the radio now.
A tentative ceasefire takes place in Gaza, although some are thinking that it may be a sneaky plan by Israel to force Palestinians to use up all their bullets, as Palestinians usually celebrate these ceasefires by firing their weapons into the air for the first time.
I see the years Chuck Cash is on your radio now.
Nadine Dorries becomes the first contestant voted out of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. The surly Scouse MP was up against the crafty Cockney darts player Eric Bristow. Upon leaving the jungle, Nadine said she was happy that she'd had some long, deep conversations and hoped to have changed the public's perception of politicians. Well, I don't recall any of those conversations. They must have been edited out. All I recall is her bitching, moaning and trying to cope with a hairy anus. Hugo, incidentally, is still in the competition. As for changing the public's perception of MPs, well, I think she may have done that, as millions of us voted for her for the very first time, and with a clear conscience.
You're listening to Chuck Cash on the radio.
Stop it. Chuck Cash is on the radio. What, Chuck Cash? On the radio? Yes, Chuck Cash is on the radio. He's on the radio now. On the radio now.
So I had to go to the supermarket to pick up a few essentials. When I got to the trolley bay, I noticed there was only 2 of the smaller trolleys left, and I wanted a smaller trolley. I don't like the big trolley. I only needed a few things, and it's a lot of leaning in and leaning out. Unfortunately, the 2 trolleys that were left were stuck together, and seemingly inseparable, because I spent at least 6 minutes trying to part them. Within that time, other smaller trolleys were returned to the bay, which I could have had, and were taken by other shoppers, but it became personal between me and the 2 trolleys. However, exhaustion beat me and I was forced to take a larger trolley. Because essentials are always stored in the furthest corners of a supermarket, I was forced to troll many of the aisles unnecessarily, behind lots of shuffling old people, and young people who never say thank you when you let them buy, and smelly people who seem to gather at supermarkets. So by the time I got to the checkout, I was pretty desperate to leave the store. However, I noticed the woman in front hadn't put down a grocery divider. This annoyed me. So I started putting my items up close to hers, the expensive ones first, of course. She then placed down the divider. For some reason, I still don't know why, I picked that divider up and slammed it down very loudly on the conveyor belt. Subsequently, she picked it up and bitch-slapped me with it across the face. Her children, who are very well teched up, filmed the whole event, and it later appeared on YouTube. That YouTube video has received more hits than anything I have ever posted.
She wasn't no grocery divider provider. She wasn't no grocery divider provider. It's common courtesy, you shouldn't need reminding why your groceries need a little dividing. I got bitch slapped. It's on YouTube. I got bitch slapped. Good God. There ain't no reason your seasoned meat should touch my Aunt Bessie. Been messed around too much. I'll close my eyes and then I'll count to 10. Your Uncle Ben fell on her again. I got bitch slapped. It's on YouTube. I got bitch slapped. But all Amber card holders, please go to the Check This Out. Show some restraint with that meat and veg. Your salami just poked in my free-range egg. Milk keeps splashing on my dairy-free. Keep your mince pies off Linda McCartney. I got bitch slapped. It's on YouTube. I got bitch slapped. Good God. Your Fabries and my cream cheese keep getting caught. Your laundry soap, way too close for comfort. A tub of clover just knocked over my cans. Chain reacting stacked in a silly gangbang. I got bitch slapped. It's on YouTube. I got bitch slapped. Spillage on aisle 3. Paul Newman looking up at me. He and Lloyd Grossman wanna be set free. Checking you out, oh, this my only plea. Keep your fishy fingers off my Sarah Lee. I got bitch slapped. It's on YouTube. Got bitch slapped. Good God. She wasn't no grocery divider provider. She wasn't no grocery divider provider. It's common courtesy, you shouldn't need reminding. Why your groceries need a little dividing. I got bitch slapped. It's all you do. Got bitch slapped. Good God.
You're listening to Chuck Cash on the radio.
Stop it.
Now it's time for your local news. Mid-Bedfordshire MP Nadine Dorries has been the first voted out of I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out of Here. She lasted 12 days. She said though she's already back at work. She set up a little office in a hotel in Australia. So if she's your local MP and you got leaves in your guttering, that ain't half one hell of a phone call. Still, I expect she'll be busy for the first couple of days dealing with over 100 complaints that Bedfordshire Council have received since she's been on the show. She's still insisting she said she asked permission to leave, although the then Chief Whip Andrew Mitchell's office said she neither asked or was it agreed that she could leave for the show. And then they added, "Do you know who you're talking to, you pleb?" And that's when we hung up, because we didn't want to open those floodgates, no. She says, anyway, Nadine, that she had a fascinating time while she was on the show and had some many fascinating conversations. I didn't see it myself. I mean, I watched the show, I just didn't see nothing fascinating about her. She said she's going to donate her MP salary for the 2 weeks she was on the show to charity. But she didn't mention nothing about the thousands she earned from I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out of Here. I suppose she's back pocketing that, isn't she? On the radio now. A 70-year-old man from Essex, Ray Woodstock, he's jumped 30,000 feet in a skydive. That's over 5.5 miles. That's the highest you can go for a civilian. Yeah, he reached speeds of 180 miles an hour on the way down. He did a tandem jump over Tennessee, see? And he raised £2,000 for Southend Taxi Driver Charity Fund. We managed to grab a quick word with Ray on his experience. On the radio now. Norfolk County Council had to apologise for causing a 9-mile tailback on the A47 while carrying out a road census survey to find out how congested the A47 was. Bloody stupid, isn't it? In December, I expect they'll be turning on people's household appliances to find out how much bloody money we waste by leaving on our appliances. And then in January, we'll be turning on the water pipe to see how much water we can waste. There's hope in February they're carrying out a survey into finding out how much public money's wasted by doing unnecessary surveys. On the radio now. A trial began this week in Northamptonshire Magistrates Court of Moira and Bobby Roberts. They've been accused of keeping an elephant and treating it cruel-like, allowing their staff to chain it up for 24 hours a day and beat it with a pitchfork. Buggers. A poor old elephant is 58 called Annie. Mrs. Roberts is said to have been rumoured to have been a bit jealous of Annie's recent weight loss, but that is only speculation. You'll be pleased to hear Annie now lives in Longleaf Wildlife Park and has her own sandpit. You know, they say elephants never forget. Tell you what else never forget. Animal rights activists. Good luck with the trial, Mr. and Mrs. Roberts. Yeah, this has been your local news.
I went to Norfolk. I met Michelle across the border. She's from a very different world. Her button nose and that smile so sweet, with no extra toes or webbing on her feet. I might just pull it off if we are discreet. That exotic and hypnotic Norfolk broad. And I'll ask the stars above if suffocates me for your love. For your love I'll change my company. I would move across the fen to be with your Norfolk friends, but it won't stop suffocating me. Oh, hating me. Your love won't stop suffocating me. Pretty soon the folks back home had heard the news. I knew before too long they would make me choose between your company and my self-respect. To be vilified, the very least I can expect, and so Suffolk, it's with some regrets that I choose that exotic Norfolk broad. And I'll ask the stars above if suffocates me for your love. For your love I'll change my company. I'd move across the fen to be with your Norfolk friends, but it won't stop suffocating me. Oh, hating me. Your love won't stop suffocating me. Well, the years went past like a river flows. It seemed my die was cast. Man, the weeks went by so slow. From that button nose, our whiskers now, and above it sits a great big monobrow. I wouldn't mind so much, but it always frowned. That exotic and hypnotic Norfolk broad. Well, she was from Norfolk, but she was mine. She stayed with me all the time, but with Suffolk on my mind, this just can't be. I was with her at her death, and with her final breath, she said, can you please stop suffocating me? Oh, hating me. She said, can you please stop suffocating me?
I said a year's Chuck Cash is on your radio now. Yeah. Prisoner voting rights rose its head in the House of Commons again this week. Of course, both major parties are for withdrawing the right to vote from current serving prisoners. Should prisoners have the right to vote? We wondered what current serving inmates thought about this, and we went to ask one of them. We spoke to Sid Gilthorpe. His name has been withheld to protect his identity. So, Sid, Mr. X, how do you feel about having your right to vote withdrawn?
Voting? What do you mean voting?
As an election?
Election? What's that then?
When picking a government?
Politicians, you mean?
That's right, yes, politicians.
Nah, I don't trust any of them. Most of them should be in here more than I should be. And I've done some nasty things. Nah, I don't trust any of them, mate. I couldn't give a toss.
So you don't mind having one of your human rights cherry-picked from the Charter and withdrawn?
What's that? My human rights? You can't meddle with those, mate. You can't take away my human rights. Nah, that's serious, that is.
Ah, so you are happy to engage in the system. So will you intend to use your right to vote?
What, would I vote, you mean? Nah, toss us the lot of them. You can't take away my rights, sir. I tell you what, mate, you fiddle with my human rights, it'll get sorted. I know people. You got any snap?
Well, clearly not the most pressing item on that inmate's agenda. However, I'm sure there may be one or two inmates who feel a little bit more strongly about having one of the human rights in the European Charter cherry-picked and disrespected. More than maybe someone in another country who points to that document as their tool of freedom. Or perhaps a woman who's serving time for a crime she didn't realise she committed because she was duped by her husband or a doctor. Or perhaps you're just white and haven't really suffered an injustice at the hands of the law, or middle class and have something to protect. Or maybe you see the prison system as a tool of revenge. In that case, then I suppose, yes, withdrawing all the human rights would probably be more to your liking. But if you'd like to see prison as an encouragement and a rehabilitation towards the end of a sentence, then perhaps you'd like to see the European Charter left just as it is in other democratic countries.
On the radio now.
Charges of racism have been dropped against referee Mark Clattenburg by the FA, who say he has no case to answer to. In a clarifying statement, they insist that all derogatory terms used on the field in the future should be restricted to terms such as twonk, wazzock, numpty and silly billy. And so there's no confusion, expressions such as golly, golly gosh, cheeky monkey and don't be such a Clattenburg will be removed from the on-field vocabulary.
On the radio now.
Well, we're coming to the end of our little show. Doesn't it go quickly? If you were offended by any of tonight's material, it was probably intentional. And you can always exercise your democratic right to freedom of speech by telling the world about it on Twitter, like I do. You can find me at Chuck Cash. Songs featured tonight I lovingly wrote, crafted and performed for you were Bitch Slapped and Suffocation, featuring the lovely Flipper Stone on violin. Until next time, remember people, always wash your hands after a poo. Night.